learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel it's a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today was absolutely crazy. I need to tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. We are about to have history in the making, but today you had Jerome Powell at the White House. You had BTS at the White House, the literal Korean boy band. We had the bubble collapsing, the May gains, oil going up and down. All the optimism from yesterday faded. There is literally so much to talk about. I have all of it for you, but now what we're getting into tomorrow, quantitative tightening, that begins, and then everything today and even how we ended May, it puts us in a very interesting scenario. So let's start with the monthly gain. Today, again, all that optimism we had was great yesterday. We shot up, came down by pre-market, went up a little bit, came back down, and literally the monthly close now, it is virtually zero. It is slightly up. I'm kind of leaning towards higher, but I'm telling you, everybody is arguing about whether or not May was positive. So you can look at the candles here from the beginning of May, the up and lower ones. I mean, make your judgment. Some people are saying it was virtually zero after us going up 8% from that mini bear market that lasted 20 minutes. But that was the first big part, because now with all the optimism, a monthly gain would have been nice, but all we did was just have one weekly rally. So that's one of the things. But now let's go back to China. Again, yesterday, the news about the China lockdown, that was very positive. And even today now, even after the last weekend, the China stocks actually rallied. If anything went positive this month, it was the China stocks. But why is this chart so crazy? This is showing where they started in May, but literally this was the first monthly gain for China stocks since October. So do the math. That's like, what, 7 months or so without a monthly gain? Hopefully the S&P doesn't do that. Jesus, thank you. Okay. Amen. But pretty wild there. That's one of them. And then like we said with Powell, we're going to talk about this a little bit more, but I'm going to give you the punchline right now. People are saying the meeting with Powell today was so Biden could blame everything on Powell. Yes, that's what it says. Again, look around. People are talking about this, but I was surprised with that. And then now again, after all of this, people are asking, is this a bear market rally? Is this a bottom? And here's another pretty picture. This right here is comparing the bubble popping from 2000 to today. How are they doing it? It is by looking at the 12-month price to earnings ratio. And in 2001, it took about a year or so to go from the high 20s back down to the 15, 16 level of PE. And as you see here in this time around, we did it 3 times faster. So people are saying, even though the PEs are still high and higher than where they were, the pace of decline back to a more normal level, it has happened 3 times faster than the year 2000. So we got a lot to talk about. We have a lot tomorrow. Like I said, quantitative tightening, but let's just get into it. I hope you're ready. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live. Why am I forgetting this? Okay, youtube.com. I'm going to see you there in the morning. Thanks for being positive, respectful. You know, we're doing quantitative tightening as well, too. It's been glorious, but let's talk about today. Like we said yesterday, you had a lot of optimism. Why? China was reopening. People were getting excited about that, but then by this morning, oil started rocketing up off of all of that. Crude and Brent was even higher than when we were talking about it on the watch list. And then those inflation numbers out of Europe, it was very worrisome. And by that point, we actually opened up a slightly negative, even though the futures the day before were up about 1.5 at the max. So that was pretty surprising. Even throughout the day then, we even started getting OPEC headlines in oil. And this is important. This came up today that OPEC wants to weigh suspending Russia from an oil production deal. And this brought oil down, and this is going to be important because pretty much on Thursday, that is the OPEC meeting and we'll get confirmation, but this brought down oil a lot. Literally, when we opened up this morning, you can see the industries now. It didn't look too bad of a day, but for most of the day, energy was not at the bottom. Energy was up about 2%, and then it flipped after all these headlines. Crude hit 120, closed around like 115, and people are talking about this because essentially, if OPEC suspends Russia, pretty much Russia wouldn't have to partake in a specific quota that they would do. So even though it brought oil down in a weird way, it actually really won't change anything. That's what people are talking about now. And it would just essentially open up the door for the Saudis to make up for what Russia isn't producing if they get an exemption. So that moved some things throughout the day. We were listening to the whole Powell thing and all of that, and we got a little bit of a live look. It was a little bit weird, but pretty much all day, the White House, Brian D.C., economic advisor, Biden, he wrote an op-ed. It was all about inflation, the economy, and pretty much saying what the plan was, but it was through economics and then letting Powell do his job. But as some people are starting to know, everyone's kind of saying, well, this kind of looks like a plan to let things kind of fall back there on Powell if things don't get fixed. So that one was very interesting. That's what drove us throughout the day. We didn't move much, but the things we were responding to, it was all over the world. It had to do with what was going on with the U.S., what we had. We had economic data. Some of it was good, but then there was a couple of big surprisers, like the Virginia Fed. That one also failed. Again, you saw, it was it Dallas or Virginia, but I think both of those ended up failing. Remember last week, we had surprise data like that, but that didn't come in too hot. Again, we're going to get a bunch of ISM numbers tomorrow, but then there was the China stuff, then there was the oil stuff, and then to just like kind of, it just didn't really fit in to the narrative. Again, then there was the BTS, literally the Korean boy band. They showed up at the White House. It was probably one of the biggest viewed press briefings ever, but why it was so weird, they met with Biden after Powell. Again, all of this inflation talk, everything going on, China possibly reopening, what you name it, whatever. Then you had the BTS. So we didn't do much. Tomorrow will be a very key day. One, we're going to get a lot of economic data, and that's what we want to see. But now, this is the main point that I want to talk about. Tomorrow is the beginning of quantitative tightening. Like I said, this has only happened once in 2018. But why is this so important tomorrow? Because literally, it is almost triple the size of what we did in 2018. If you don't know 2018, here is how the chart looked. You can see the beginning of the year. Market rallied into all-time highs, then massive volatility, and then back and forth, back and forth. We melted up, and then October, November, December, it was absolutely awful. So why is this important? Because this is the only time frame where we could get hints of what happened. So this is what I'm trying to say. Tomorrow will be key. Watch the bonds. What you saw with TLT dropping 3% today, this was no coincidence, and I think this is getting ready tomorrow. If there is going to be big moves, we will see it in the bond market, but like 2018 showed us, there was two reactions. There was one reaction in the beginning of the year, and then 10 months later, there was another reaction. So now, tomorrow, does that mean we're going to get a reaction? We have to see. We are literally going into uncharted territory. But now why this is important is because you could simply argue we've already experienced the first half. So 2018, that February, that was getting ready. That was the initial announcement. And then things played out. There was also the trade war and some other things going on. But some people could argue right now that we've already priced in the first announcement of, trimming the balance sheet. And then the real effect will happen pretty much 8 months from now, or eventually when the Fed would have to pivot. But here's the thing. This is bigger than ever before. We've only done this one other time. Anything can happen. So I'm telling you right now, watch the bonds. That is going to be the big key. But if anything is going to move us tomorrow, it will be the economic data. But this is definitely one of the biggest factors that you need to be watching. That being said now, let us get into the plays. So this is what I want to talk about right off the bat. Should we be playing TLT or TBT? I think there's going to be an opportunity, but I think it's going to cost a lot of money. Essentially, it is high risk. It is just like playing oil right now. What we can do is use the share strategy where literally you could short the shares on TLT and then buy a bunch of calls with time to kind of hedge it and make sure you over-insure, because there is a good chance bonds can move crazy, but I'm going to be watching. I think tomorrow, if we get any big movements again with the first day of tapering, we want to see how demand shows up. The problem is bonds already moved a lot today, so we'll see if that was kind of pricing it in, but I would definitely be watching bonds tomorrow. This is going to be one of the biggest things, again, where we go from here and just monitoring this. I'm no surprise. I'm telling you, by the end of the year, beginning of next year, we're going to talk about this video. Tomorrow is the first day, and it is history in the making. So let's look for plays. You don't have to get it immediately, but I am definitely going to be watching those tomorrow. That's the first one. Second set of plays I'm going to be watching is bank stocks. Again, depending on what happens with rates, that has an effect on the bank stocks. We thought it would have been better this year. Then we started getting worried about the consumer and all of that. But today, the banks had a lot of strength, regardless of what oil, energy, and the rest of the market was doing. So I'm going to keep an eye on these. If they could continue and break out, they may have a better monthly return. And I really think this will be key. But we are still in the middle of this market going crazy. So just be careful, because next couple of days, anything can happen. And next week, you are also getting the CPI. But I'm going to be watching those. And then finally, the third play, China stocks. Everybody's talking about them. They've been already cutting rates and doing a lot of stuff. If we don't get any more bad news, it may end up being good. So gonna be watching those Pinduo duos. They kept climbing a little bit today. Finally, they had their first monthly gain. Again, all of the China stocks. So depending on how those play out, I think that could be a key one. But other than that, those are what I'm gonna be watching. I didn't make any other plays. I will watch CRM. They actually did good on earnings, and that was very surprising. So that may lift other software stocks. So keep your eyes out for that too. That could be a good one. And then we did see a couple of biotech runners today. If there is some hype in the market, just keep your eye out for some of those if you want to trade them, but be careful. We get the long-term deposit. I'm going to be holding it. I'm not going to be using this money immediately after all of this back and forth. But what we've been talking about, again, if you want to make trades, make the trades. Be careful of the options. Utilize the shares. Utilize what you know. But if I'm going to be adding something to the long-term in this market, I want high quality. I borderline want a blue chip stock, something that just has a little bit more stability rather than not. And unfortunately, the bank stocks in JP Morgan, it's already back up from our other long-term purchase, believe it or not. So we're going to kind of have to wait a little bit. So pretty straightforward. It's going to be exciting. Again, that QT, you're a cutie, baby. Amen. No, we got to watch what happens. That's going to be the key. Watch all of the economic data events. Again, there's been a lot of macro data surprises. If that trend keeps continuing, it's not going to be good, but we're going to keep our eyes out for it, see what happens. And now the real question, all I care about by the end of this week, is it going to be a positive week or not? You know, having a positive May or a strong positive May, that would have been nice. But really, everybody is seeing, can we string a rally that lasts more than 1 week? So there's that. Oh, and watch out for this too. This one came up today. There was people were talking about a treaty with Russia, pretty much ending the war. And this came up twice. We weren't really able to confirm it, but keep your eyes out for this. You may see the market act crazy to it, but we will see what happens. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate, healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to remember, you're gonna do great things. You need to hear it. You got more greatness, and you have more greatness in your future. And like the old Chattadonians used to say, the best is yet to come, baby. So stay locked and loaded. We're already going to be at the middle of the week. Let's close it out strong, baby, and get ready. You are living through history, my friends. I love you. Peace out. Have a wonderful night, and God bless the call, baby. Amen. Amen. Amen.